another pub I'll be covering at one point. The old Greenwich power station. I wonder what's going on there. So we'll have to check out. Just there, Leamouth, London's only lighthouse. That is the port of London's only lighthouse, that one, which we will visit at some point. I know I say that a lot, but there we are. While we dock at Greenwich. Over here, before I pause you, are the cable cars that take you from Royal Victoria Docks in Canning Town to Silvertown over to Greenwich. I've done those, they're pretty good. I'll have to do them at night time though, that would be a nice one. We are leaving Greenwich now. The photos that I've taken on this journey may not be of the sharpest of quality because they've not been taken in nighttime mode. They're screenshots while I film. But needs must when the devil calls, as they say. making. You out onto Mouse. We're now leaving Royal Wharf and it's raining. Next stop, Woolwich. Here's a thought. People did travel on the river at night time by Thames bargemen, and those boats were much smaller than what I'm on. I don't know if I would have been comfortable with that. I wonder if many people drowned or if there were many accidents. We're going to be going through the Thames barrier now, ladies and gents. The very thing that stops London from flooding. We'll be going past it, give you a better view. Yonder distance is where we were living when I was born. I was born in Forest Gate Maternity Hospital, but that's where we were living. Now we go to the side of the boat. Royal Arsenal at Woolwich, our next location. Pepys' workplace. We're going to disembark now, so we have now disembarked, and there goes our Uber boat. Pepys' business at the Royal Arsenal, of course, was navy business. Cannons, shipping, supplies, victualling, which is food, all that kind of stuff. And the Woolwich that we see now, even the Royal Arsenal that we see now, really this world is leagues apart from how it would have been when Samuel Pepys was around. Those are Regency era, so they would not have been there in Pepys' time. But this is where he would have come nonetheless, to Woolwich. But it's not too cold tonight either, so this is not disappointing. I'm taking you over here because one of the few things that remains from Pepys' time, which we'll see in a minute, before we go and see, there's a display of cannons over here. Some of them are quite old. where I'm going to take you to is just over here. The landlord will not accept any responsibility for injury or damage caused climbing on the sandstone engine block. See, this is a sandstone engine block, and this was here in Pepys' day. Been restored as a focal historic artefact and should not be climbed on under any circumstances. So, fair enough. We know where we stand. Right. And now we'll skedaddle off into the past, and for part 2, join me for that. It will be historic images and information. And here we see a royal dockyard in about 1690, so from Pepys' time. This is exactly what Pepys' world would have been like. Now for some historical images. Hope you all enjoyed the Thames boat journey and that little tableau of a working dockyard, all done in miniature. Bloody clever what can be done with technology, that is, isn't it? But Woolwich Dockyard was founded by King Henry VIII in 1512 to build his flagship, Henry Grâce-à-Dieu, the Great Harry, the largest ship of its day. The ship was built in Old Woolwich, which was where the dockyard was initially established. And Pepys' work in the dockyard, of course, would have been looking at and overseeing the buildings and supplying of ships, which is sometimes mentioned in the diary as well. A lot of that took place at Deptford too. This image shows Woolwich in 1698, so pretty much as Pepys would have recognised and known it, and what a totally different area to what we see today. It was the countryside in those days. The Royal Arsenal. The Royal Arsenal began in July 1518 when a small plot by the Thames in Woolwich was purchased for the equipping of the ordnance of newly constructed warships. This gun warfare was outgrown by 1670, and the Crown obtained an almost adjacent estate known as Tower Place, or the Woolwich Warren, whose land was already being rented out for the proofing of artillery. By 1696, specialised buildings had been constructed on the new site for the blending and testing of gunpowder and the finishing of cannonballs. By 1700, this new Woolwich Arsenal was the most important armaments facility in England. So another vital role that Pepys would have played in there is the Dutch Wars. We'll see a little bit of that now. Overseeing, of course, the production and the stocking of gunpowder and armaments, and also as well another interesting gunpowder related thing is that the Great Fire, when Pepys was pivotal in that role in having gunpowder brought out to have buildings blown up so they could stop the fire. So that's the history of the Woolwich Royal Arsenal. By the 1570s, the Crown established a naval rope yard in Woolwich, one of the largest in the world at the time. Too long to fit within the confines of the Dockyard, its parallel sheds lay along the lines of the present-day Beresford Street. As the first built, it consisted of a 600-foot cable house, along with a series of sheds accommodating different parts of rope-making process. And of course it would have been obvious what Pepys was going there for, to oversee the production and supply of ropes to the Navy. Here's a map, 1746, so 40 plus years after Pepys's death, but not much would have changed in that time. And Pepys's legacy in Woolwich still lasts to this day. This is Woolwich Town Hall, a beautiful building in itself, but if you go inside Woolwich Town Hall and ask nicely, you'll be shown and allowed to photograph this, which is the Samuel Pepys window. Samuel Pepys, the famous diarist, who for some time lived at Woolwich and was a most helpful official at the Admiralty, driving a critical period over the Navy's history. And that, ladies and gents, concludes Samuel Pepys's working life, or a little bit thereof anyway. Hope you all found this one interesting, and as we approach towards the end of our journey now, and towards the end of Samuel's life, so on to the next one, and it gets a little bit sadder as we go along.